Good afternoon and welcome to another Knuffle. There we are. Here with the wonderful doyens of property, Sally and Kate from Agent Rainmaker. Ladies, how the devil are you?
We're good. We're rocking and rolling. It's exciting, isn't it?
It is.
Just loving lockdown life, Simon. Just what can I say? Just
brilliant. Like in a prison.
Your face wasn't really backing up what your words were saying there, if I'm honest, Kate.
I'll be slightly sarcastic there. I think we've got to look at the benefits of it, but yeah, it's bloody hard. I must admit, I'm desperate to go for a pint and go to the pub, but you know, we'll get there. We will get there.
Soon. I'm not ready to deal with the lack of restaurants and bars that are open yet.
Oh.
But no, it is, isn't it? It's the cumulative effect, really, of it. Just want to get it behind. But all it's seemingly anyway, all good news, isn't it? All going in the right direction anyway. So let's fingers crossed that it's and we'll go from there. But what we're really keen to talk about today is we're really pleased to announce you guys onto the Kerfuffle platform. And we want to talk about what you guys are doing out there for agents day in, day out, because I think it's a pretty exciting story. And certainly whenever I've spoken to the people who do work with you, they get that same level of excitement that always makes me want to hang on to a company like yours with my coattails, because I don't actually do anything other than hang on to others' glory. So we were talking today. We were saying when we get into the detail of it, we're going to talk about with a wonderful clickbaity title: how to increase the profit in your agency in just 3 simple steps. Well, let me tell you, I'm going to definitely complicate that.
There we go.
But no, we'll let that. But
I feel like we've been led into a trap, Sally. What do you think? I don't know.
Unwittingly, I should have done the full reveal we've been expecting you. Could we just give a bit of context and background? Obviously, pretending somebody stuck under a rock didn't know about you two. Would you mind just obviously give us the bit of background, and then we'll kick into what Agent Rainmaker is all about?
Sure. Well, here at Agent Rainmaker, what we do is we absolutely focus on growing your agency. So obviously been in the agents industry for 30 years. I recognize there was a massive lack of business coaching, as in specific growth coaching, marketing coaching, and profit coaching in the industry. There's lots of coaching around legislation and all that sort of thing, but there wasn't any coaching on how to grow your business. And I also recognize that people weren't talking to each other. So letting agents wouldn't talk to other letting agents, not truthfully anyway. They'd be like, how's business? Oh, it's fine, Sally. Oh, yeah, of course it is. Yeah. There was a lot of pomp and ceremony, but not a lot of networking. And so I wanted to change that. So 4 years ago, created Agent Rainmaker with one purpose, really, to bring the community together and to focus on how we can grow our businesses. And so we've spent the last 4 years constantly, I see ourselves as the R&D department out there looking for new strategies that other industries are using so that we can bring them back. We trial them, we test them, we coach them, we then put them out to the market. So we're here to help the industry. That's basically what we're here to do, to help them grow their businesses.
Yeah, fantastic. What a great way of summarising that there. And I think it's interesting what you say, isn't it? There's a few people out there focusing on this same area, but lettings has never had the same level of care and attention, has it? For maybe that's just the way it obviously was in the industry in general, wasn't it, for a number of years? Obviously,
it was always the sideshow, wasn't it? It was always sort of the poor man's estate agency, which it couldn't be further from the truth, really. And I think especially a year that we've been through now just shows how important that residual income is and how valuable lettings can be in a property business. It's crazy, and I think people are seeing that and are learning that and seeing the value in that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, even physically in a lot of estate agency branches, if you go back 10, 20 years ago, lettings was literally in the broom cupboard at the back, wasn't it? It was you do lettings, we're the important people, we do sales, we do lettings. But actually, I think many estate agents now are very happy they've got letting agent modules to their business, because you cannot beat, and you know as well as I do, Simon, the value of any business is the residual income.
Try and sell your business without a rent roll.
Exactly. So it is the heart and soul of a good side, the estate agency business or letting agency business. But even now, Simon, I cannot believe there's so many people with estate agency, letting agency businesses, and they don't pay any attention. I mean, one of the guys in our community that's generated 250,000 additional revenue to his business since August was exactly that. He'd got a letting agency, and he was just like, I don't want to know about it. It's just a pain in the backside. I'm just not interested in it. We're like, look at it. And actually, it was actually his business partner that signed him up to come and do some stuff with us. He came and did some stuff with us, and he's now had $250,000 in revenue. He was like, Jesus, this thing's a gold mine. And we're like, yes, it is. And he's like, oh my God. And it's crazy. And that's why I use the terminology that most letting agents are sitting on a gold mine. Even if they don't even think of themselves as letting agents, they may be estate agents. They've got an opportunity there. And it's just about knowing what to do with it. But most are just doing what they've always done for the last 30 years. They've never really evolved that. They just collect the rents, they do the maintenance, they sort it out. They don't really do anything with it. But it's an absolute gold mine. So there's so much opportunity out there, Simon. It really is.
Familiarity as well, isn't it? So many business owners come from the sales side of the business. So you tend to, deviate to what you know, don't you, and expect there. And they're definitely, and then you saw a lot of the lettings specialists really staking a claim before this was, became popular. And then every recession comes round, of course, and as you said, it's the lettings department that's paying the wages. Again, people get a little bit more, and then they start thinking about exits. And of course, that's where a lot of the value comes from. So there is now obviously there's an awareness for most agents that they need to have a strong, viable lettings department, rather than go, as you were saying before, intimating, go and talk to Doreen upstairs if you want to talk lettings, whatever. But they are getting, I think that the wonderful thing is, though, that we're kind of past that Rubicon, aren't we? People are aware now, and okay, they may not have the skill sets themselves, but once they concentrate on that side of the business, give that level, the lettings director, the behest to grow the business, they've got support groups like yourselves that can really help them where there wasn't that much before.
I think seeing it as a business is important, isn't it? Seeing it as a business that can be grown and that's valuable and that can be attacked, like just with the same sort of strategies or anything that any other side of the business would have. I think it's so easy to fall into just, it's customer service and we're just filling a role and that kind of thing. We're actually looking at expanding and growing and seeing it as a really valuable business tool is something that a lot of, well, certainly the people who've been through our rooms and we've worked with have gone on to achieve huge things from.
I think that's the actual difference between estate agencies and the letting agencies. Usually people that run estate agencies are very salesy. Usually people that run letting agencies are very service orientated. And so they're very good at looking after people and doing a great job on the lettings, but they're not quite so good generally, this is the practitioners, they're not that good generally of actually driving marketing, sales, lead generation, adding value, all that sort of stuff, because that's not their language. Their language is service the customer and look after the customer. And so,
exceptional process as well, aren't they? By definition, to get a property management department firing, you've got to have process in place to make that work.
You have, and a letting agent is traditionally very good at processes, systems, understanding the 170 pieces of legislation and getting down into the detail of subsection 2.4 of the Housing Act 2004 states that. All right, but they're not very good at getting out there and driving leads and driving landlords. And so quite common, you'll hear them say there's no landlords out there, there's not enough business out there. But I'll give you another example. Sharon Penluna, a lady who, again, we've been working with for the last couple of months, she set up an automated marketing funnel that we helped her set up 2 weeks ago. And in the first 5 days, she generated 70 landlord leads in 5 days. And yet the perception is there's no landlords out there. There is. They're out there. You just need to do something different other than leaflets, void letters, hitting the phones. You just need to do something different.
Oh, sorry, how many did you say? 70?
70 in 5 days.
So your pitch then, whereas mine was just, you just need one listing to pay for this. It's like you've got
you got your choice, mate.
Yeah, you pay for the next 7 years or whatever else. And just talk us through, because obviously a huge part, obviously, I feel for you, as many people shed a tear for me having physical events taken away from us. I would be very vocal about my excitement for conference season and all it's like. How have you had to adapt and pivot that? I did. You were kind enough to invite me on one of your first conferences, and for me, actually, we didn't discuss this prior, but it genuinely was the first one I felt delivered on a digital format. There was a lot that was just kind of, going for a kind of a Zoomy approach, and I don't think that really works, does it? But you really thought about that, and that felt like this was how actually. Future events would go anyway. There would be much more of a hybrid in terms of the physical and the digital.
trying to create that live experience, but using online. And so you can't just use Zoom. You've got to have a stage, you've got to have a networking area, you've got to have the area where they can meet suppliers, you've got to have that whole community. People want to be able to chat, they want to be able to ask questions. And so the way we thought about it was, so we want people to be speaking on stage, like yourself, Simon, but then, you know, when you're at an event and you want to run outside and meet the speaker and catch them for 5 minutes before they go, we wanted to create that environment. So we created the catch-up room, and then we created the breakout rooms and the living rooms where people go and sit and meet and talk and chat. So it's about creating those two things. But I'll let Kate answer the question of how have we coped with
well, I mean, as you felt, Simon, having the pubs and the restaurants taken away from you as an events company, which, you know, we essentially were still are 12 months ago. It was like, right, okay then. So we got some pivoting to do, and you, as you quite rightly say, the Pivot Summit was what we did last May, and it was fantastic because we had 24 speakers from 5 different countries in 7 different time zones. I mean, it was just insane. But the idea with us at Agent Rainmaker is that we're not just, you know, trainers and on Zoom and doing sort of, you know, learning step-by-step webinars. We encase so much more. And in order to be able to translate that digitally, it's like Sally said, there's so many different layers to what we did. So we've been delivering all of our events digitally for the last 12 months and incredibly successfully. And a lot of the success stories that we look at now from the last 12 months have been from people that we don't know whether they have a bottom half to their body, quite frankly.
A lot have come from that summit as well. I mean, that summit,
yes.
We did that summit, Simon. We didn't make a single penny from that summit. No. We did it purely for charity. So every single penny went to Promise Dreams charity to give last minute dreams to terminally ill children. So we didn't make a single penny, but there's been so many success stories about people launching massive podcasts, people getting really huge results from LinkedIn and funnel marketing and things like that. Honestly, it was such an event. It was amazing because the thing we wanted from that event is what's new now. What do we need to do now? It's called the Pivot Summit because it's like, what do we need to do now? Okay, the stuff we did last week doesn't work anymore. What do we do now? And that's what I think the number one thing that we do, and as Kate says, embraces many things, is we're always looking for what's new. I spend so much time talking to Americans, Australians, people in Norway, people all over the world saying, what are you doing to market your business? And so when we had to run a digital event, I had this whole network of people that were already doing this anyway. So I just copied a few of them. And it's about looking all the time of what's going on out there, saying, how can we do that in our industry? And it works. And we're in an R&D phase as an industry. The whole world is, and we're no exception. We're in a phase, Simon, where we've got to look for new, look for different, look for what works. We can't go and knock on doors anymore. You know, we can't even meet our tenants face to face anymore. We just can't do all those things. We can't even really meet our staff and have good old, you know, fun times anymore like we used to have to build that rapport. So we've got to find new ways to do everything. Yeah. And we to be fair, do you know what? We have really enjoyed it. It's been horrendous. Yeah. Losing all those events, having to not run Agent Rainmaker Live last year personally killed me and Kate. You know, it's just like we'd so missed it. There's been that part of it. But I've enjoyed the evolution of it, as in the way we've had to adapt and the discovery and the research and the new things. It's really made us step up a gear, I think. And
I think the industry as a whole, I mean, this industry, we always talk about how, you know, sort of stoic the property industry's been. They're getting hit from all sides, and this was no different. But I think, you know, just as we're quite proud with the way that we've sort of moved forward and pivoted and kind of, you know, embraced the new world and especially technology, I think the industry as a whole has done that, because I think they were probably about 10 years behind where they needed to be, certainly in terms of prop tech and marketing and all of that kind of thing. And it's taken a global pandemic to sort of push many agents into where they actually need to be. And I think as people sort of leveled up to that, the way that we can deliver and connect and the way people are learning and embracing has kind of, we're all on the same page now. Do you know what I mean? I mean, here we are doing a webinar to your platform of people, you know, in StreamYard, which is going to, you know, 75 different locations where people are watching and learning and consuming, because that's where we all are as a world now. I mean, for that to happen in 12 months, it's just crazy, isn't it?
Yes, I think what I really like about it is, you know, I struggle with this, and I quote it myself, by the way, loads of times, you know, about how we've always been threatened with disruption, aren't we, in property? There's going to be this tidal wave of change, and it never really seems to happen. And we do say, obviously, it's, you know, we're 5 years behind, 10 years behind elsewhere. But it's not like a home without a comparable. I think it's really, really difficult to say that, this job ever really can be done in a vastly different way. It's all very well getting your food delivered, isn't it? On kind of Uber, but the service, yes, you can do things like virtual viewings and everything else and use digital tools there, but there are elements of this job that are face-to-face by definition, aren't they? So, but I think what you do great, and the likes of Peter Knight, are you do genuinely look at what's happening out there successfully already. So this isn't all the jetpack stuff that never seems to arrive, but look is what's working in other industries and then localizing that and making it relevant. Because I think we all know it's actually difficult to adopt change. Change can be a bit painful, and you lessen that fear of change, which is really important.
Yeah, and we lessen that by, first of all, trialing it, either ourselves or our high-level people. We then get our ARX members. We run a 12-month mastermind, and so they're the next people that trial stuff. And so we have so many case studies and test studies by the time we actually talk about it and put it out there. And I think it's that, oh, they've done it, which gives you the belief to then do it. It's like the 4-minute mile. Before it was done, you would spontaneously combust someone if you ran a 4-minute mile. But as soon as it was done,
well, he would, I think.
Yeah, I think I probably still would. That's what they said, wasn't it? But as soon as one person done it, then everybody started doing it because the belief was there. And I think, ourselves, Peter Knight and people like that, we trial, we get it out there, we get it tested, we get it proven, we get results and say, there you go and do it. And there's like an evolution of this stuff. We put it out there, a few people test it, we put it out there, other people start doing it, and then everybody else starts talking about it. So it just is this evolution of it, and then it becomes normal.
It stops it being ivory tower. It's not ivory tower there. And this is where I do think, okay, maybe there in some areas they are behind, but there's nothing like that keeping up with the Joneses. Once an agent sees technology that is working, they are very fast to adopt it, aren't they? I think about as adaptable an industry as you will ever find. So that's why if you have the gumption to get out there and try something and it does work, really is going to impress your members, isn't it?
It is. There's also an evolution as well. Just over 12 months, so about 14 months ago, we started talking about funnel marketing to the industry. And we got a lot of backlash, didn't we, Kate? We got people saying, what's a funnel? Oh, it's just generating loads of rubbish leads that no one will let. Oh, it's just, honestly, the amount of backlash we had. But what's happened as a result of that, so many people are now launching funnels and they're automating their marketing at the front end, which means they don't have to hit the phone, send void letters, leaflets, cold calling, that sort of stuff. They're automating it. But it's created a whole new load of problems. So the new problems are, instead of having 20 landlords to speak to in a month, you've now got, if you look at our Wolverhampton branch, 650 in a month.
It's lead management, isn't it? It becomes hot leads, and how do we deal with them?
You've got to identify the hot leads from the not leads. So you've got 650, but there's probably only 60 really good ones in there. The other 590 are ones that need to be nurtured, kept warm, keep in contact with, all those sort of things. And letting agents, what we've discovered in the last 40 months is they don't have databases, they don't nurture them with emails. The staff haven't got time or don't do it or don't know how to speak to the people on the database. And so it created a whole new raft of problems. And one of the things that we're seeing a lot of people do now, Simon, is actually outsourcing. And actually, we, for example, we have a team of Filipino workers, and what they do is they actually nurture the leads and pop the good ones out to the agency. So it's a whole new thing.
Just to clarify, and you wouldn't get this on Watkins' show, this isn't that you've got a load of Filipinos working for you in the UK. You've got a Filipino hub, haven't you? Over there.
Yeah, not here.
I just thought you really liked Filipinos or something like that.
No. We've actually, So they're what they're doing is they're sifting through. They're sifting through. They're nurturing. They're popping out. So the agency, and this is one of the things, Simon, I think is really important. As we've got ROPA coming, Regulation of Property Agents, for those that don't know. So we're going to have to be really, really good at staff management and training, recruitment, and all that sort of thing. And I don't want to get boring on you here and talk about legislation. That's not what we're here to do. But the staff are going to be so high, they're going to be much higher value, if you know what I mean. They're going to be qualified, highly trained, whatever. You don't want them sitting there going like this all day. And so we've got to, as an industry, identify new ways of dealing with the mundane tasks so that our high-paid, qualified expert members of staff can deal with the valuable things. I think I think it's a new evolution. I think things are changing. I can see a massive change.
I think as well that it's people's perception of what a good lead is anymore, because I think, you know, certainly from days when I first started an agency, you know, the phone used to ring and a landlord would be at the end of the phone saying, "Hi, I'd like you to let my property, please." I mean, you'd fall off your chair now if that happened in a branch. It just doesn't happen anymore. So I think it's also looking at and re-educating people about what the quality of leads are and how many touch points you need to get before you convert them. I mean, I think I read somewhere that it's 80% of sales are made on the 5th to the 12th contact of a customer. I mean, 80%, that's huge. So are we touching base with people, you know, between 5 and 12 times? And I know that isn't happening working with people in branches. You know, "Oh yeah, those leads are crap, they're rubbish, yeah, they got nothing. They probably got one call and a voicemail and that's it."
It's the oldest stick in the book, isn't it? Excuse. "Oh, they're tire kickers. They're tire kickers." You know, they're definitely going to be tire kickers if you don't actually talk to them.
Absolutely. And I think that it's just educating the people, you know, and the staff, not just the business owners, the staff as well.
It's a different conversations as well, Kate, isn't it? 'Cause I know you do a lot of training on conversion conversations because, as I say, for probably 25 years of my agency life, is you want a free valuation. Do you want a free valuation? Do you want a free valuation? I mean, like,
game's up, guys. We know it's free. It's always free.
Yeah. Right, whatever. But anyway, now we've actually got different landlord avatars. You see, if you think about it, you've got landlords that are would-be landlords that haven't bought yet. You've got landlords that are investor landlords that do it themselves, don't need agents. You've got the old-fashioned let-only landlords that just use the agent for letting the property and moving on, and you've got the fully managed accidental landlords, part-time landlords, etc., etc. You've got a whole different avatar, and so you actually need different marketing strategies and techniques to reach the would-be landlords and to reach the investors. They know everything. They don't need us landlords. You need different language, and so most agency staff, in my experience, are just trying to go, "Do you want a free valuation?" "No, they're not interested." "Have you got anybody else?" It's having those conversion conversations. One of the things that we're using a lot at the moment is messenger chat. Great way of getting landlord valuation. So it's new technology mixed with new conversations. And honestly, they're out there. You just can't rely on what you used to rely on anymore.
Can I just ask you specifically on that? So one of the biggest, I mean, what we're talking about there in marketing terms is segmentation, isn't it? Identifying, as you said, kind of the avatar and the personality type. But one of the biggest challenges, a lot of people buy into that, and they look at systems like Brief Your Market, nurturing systems, and they're full of energy and excitement, and you know, they have the logic from day one. And the first newsletter goes out with 40 articles in. 2 weeks later, it goes out with 20 articles, and by the end of the month, you're asking the staff if they've got any pet stories or something like that. It's really hard to keep creating that level of content, isn't it? To power the content engine that you need to have. So what is, just on a very top level, how do you address that? Is that something you can help people out with content?
Yeah. Yeah, we actually coach something called the Neverending Content Creator, which is basically I don't know, it's about an hour, 40 minutes. I'm tempted to say 40 minutes, but let's say an hour. Basically what we do is we get them to write down, we show them like a template, and they have to fill in the blanks, and they go down it. And the most we've ever had in I say about an hour was about 450 headlines for content. So ideas for content. Yeah. And the thing is, all this is in your head. It's there already. But what they try and do is I'll give you an example. You say to someone, "Can you write me an article to go and think?" They'll write about lettings. Everything you need to know about lettings. First thing, this, then referencing and stuff. You go, "Right, can you write me an article too?" "Well, I've written everything." And I say, "Well, you've put 20 years of experience in 800 words, then have you?" And I go, "Yes." This is an actual conversation I had, by the way, with Dawn Bennett when she wrote me. I said, "Don't be ridiculous." So basically, if you want a very quick top tip, take your headline. What do you do? Sales, lettings, management. Right. Yeah. Break sales down. What do you do in sales? Into 5 things. And then break those into 5 things. Then break those down into 5. And just keep going. And you'll end up with about 400, as many as you can keep going. You just keep going. I
think for me, the main thing is that people try to talk to everyone in anything that they're doing. And that's the real big mistake, because if you market to everyone, you're not actually marketing to anyone at all. So these newsletters that you say that go out, it's because they've got to talk to that avatar. They've got to talk to the investment landlord with the portfolio, and they've got to talk to the less only guy, and they've got to talk, because, oh my God, what if someone reads it and doesn't think that we do that? I'm going to miss out on that one sale. But actually, it doesn't work at all.
Thank you, Kate. Josh, Josh Fegan literally publicly takes the piss out of my emails, which he refuses to read now because I have a paranoia that I have left something out on everything I send. And so you're literally in a different time zone. Luckily, he is by the time you finish one of my War and Peace emails. But
it doesn't work, Simon. Stop doing it.
I can tell that from the open rates. It does not work.
Only sell one thing to one person at any time.
Talk to one person with whatever you're putting out there. And then you will not run out of content if you do that, I promise you.
Let me just say, I'm coming on your story, and maybe it's not the never ending, it's how to make the end story.
Yeah. That wasn't all for one blog, Simon. That was for 400.
Simon's never-ending story.
Anyone who's been stuck in a bar with me will know about that. But anyway, so just to put a bit of context, and I obviously want to talk about the actual events later on. We've got I was very excited seeing your launch last week, so we will definitely touch on that. Touch on that a little bit more, but let's just take it back to the 3 steps again here. So just to put a bit of structure around it, what would you then, how can you summarize what you feel then are the best 3 steps to help improve that profit?
I think absolutely the first thing you've got to do is automate your marketing. So the old days of void letters and leaflets and cold calling and those sort of things, yeah, they still work-ish. But, if you actually want to get leads on match, we call it avalanche marketing, and it literally is an avalanche. You switch the damn thing on and it's like whoosh. And then you've just got to figure out what to do with it. That's another problem for another day. But you need to automate your marketing now. We are in the 21st century. The technology has been there for a long time. We need to automate our marketing. And that way you can get rid of things like, I've got no one to ring. I found everybody. No one's interested. There's no landlords out there. You just have a new problem with what you say to who and how you're nurturing. So number 1 has got to be get your marketing automated. If you're not with the program on that one yet, then we have a problem, Houston, because somebody else in your town will be. And the way avalanche marketing works is basically data capture on steroids. So basically what will happen is someone in your town starts avalanche marketing before you. They will be getting 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 landlords every single month dropping onto their database. They will be talking to them. They will be calling them. They will be nurturing them. You won't.
And it's like a black hole, isn't it?
Yeah.
With so many things in life, once you get the attention first mover status there, it's very hard for anyone to step out from under the shadow.
Absolutely. And we've seen it so many with so different businesses that have hit the market, like Dyson and all those sort of things. It's just like once they're in, it's hard to capsulate. Yeah. So at your peril, ignore it. And I know people go, oh, but it's Sally, it's something new. It's a little bit challenging, a little bit harder. What else could you do in 3 hours that would give you 100 leads a week? What else could you do? If it took you 3 hours to set the thing up and it gave you 100 leads per week and you had to spend £5 a day on ads to get like 70 leads in 5 days, what else could you do? And they can't answer it.
Well, you said it yourself. It is, I think it should be at any time, but definitely going forwards. You've got to have the top earners doing the most dollar productive activities. That's just the most obvious statement of all, isn't it? And what could be more dollar productive than this?
Absolutely. And that brings me nicely on to point number 2, which is actually...
I set that up for you.
You did, because my second, and you don't even know what my point 2 is, but my point 2, because he did ask us before, guys who's watching, but we never sent him.
He's definitely forgotten it though, for sure.
My second point is basically using your time wisely, because our industry is full of practitioners. They tend to embrace getting on the tools and getting stuck in. The member of staff's off, I need to do their job. The phone's ringing, I need to answer it. I'm going to go in and sort the filing out, sort the keys out, sort the contracts out, all these 4 different things. But actually, you are the most expensive person in your business, or you should be. You should be earning more than anybody else. You're the one heavily invested in this. So it's valuing your time. And we've found, and all the success stories that we've had of all the people that we've helped generate 100K, 250,000, 500,000, 1 million. We've got one lady who just about to get to 4 million additional revenue. The number one thing they've done, Simon, out of everything else they've done, is this one thing. And it is absolutely saying, I am the key money maker here, and I've got to spend my time wisely. And so every hour, think, I've got to earn £250 every single hour I sit in this desk. What am I doing now? And is it making me 250 quid? If I'm not making 250 quid every single hour, then I'm not doing my job. And so I'm quite hard with people. I get some people say to me, oh, but Sally, I've been so busy and I had to sort out the keys. I don't know, how much did that cost you? Because let's just imagine you built another funnel that could have cost you 400 leads, which could have given you another 100 landlords. So there's £100,000 those keys cost you. And let's have a look at how much prospecting you could have done, or joint ventures you could have done, or affiliate marketing you could have done that. That could have cost you another 50 grand. So fanning around with those keys has cost you 150,000. How do you feel about that?
This is where we play good cop, bad cop in what we do, Simon, you see, because she terrifies the living daylights out of them, and I go around going, it'll be okay, let's just do this.
I'm getting an inkling of what that feels like.
And Kate comes in and says, now what Sally's saying is...
What, she doesn't really mean it like that.
Because I absolutely get that. And one of the things that one of my old bosses said was, you know, it's very easy to be bad busy, isn't it? You know, you can be
busy fools.
In the old days, going from Hartlepool one day down to, you know, Taunton the next day or something else like that. That, you know, you could just fill your diary and never actually be thinking things through. And he said to me, if that meeting isn't going to make you, as you just said there, 250 quid or whatever else is there, is it essential for other reasons? Because if it isn't, you know, knock it out the diary.
Pass it on, get someone else to do it, outsource it, delegate it, train somebody else to do it. Just get it off your desk. Because the reason most businesses we're doing a series on Facebook Lives at the moment of taking people through the 8 stages of agency, because we've identified there's 8 stages of agency. Yeah. And what happens is people get stuck. So they get stuck at 60 properties, they get stuck at 120 properties, they get stuck at 250 properties, they get stuck at 500 properties, they get stuck. And what happens is they just get so consumed in the business, doing the stuff. And then we say to them, well, let go of that and grow your business. But they don't know what growing the business activity looks like. They don't know what it is. Just to give you a heads up, number 1, it's marketing. Number 2, it's sales. Number 3, it's operations. Number 4, it's understanding the finances. And number 5 is R&D. It's out there looking for what's new, change, and evolution. And because they don't know what to do over there, they don't let go of this because it's safe and it's normal and it feels comfortable and it's okay and it's not stressful. There's no fear, there's no challenges, and so they just get stuck. They get comfortable. But
they don't value themselves either, and I think that's part of it, because it's like you said, Simon, about if I'm going to do that, is it going to make me 250 quid? Well, no. So then you say, okay, well, maybe you should outsource or hire someone else to be doing that lower level thing. But then it's quite, you're out there sort of, naked on your own with no expectations of, you're not busy doing that, and you're not fanning around with the keys, and you're not taking the calls. And so now you've really only got to answer to yourself of, what am I going to do in the next hour or day or week or whatever that's going to make a real impact? And it's like Sally says, the problem is a lot of people think, crap, what am I going to do? I better go back to being busy again, because at least then I sort of validate my own existence. Whereas they are so much more valuable, I think, in their own business that people give themselves credit for. And that's it is fear. It's fear and belief in oneself, isn't it?
It's scary to pick up the phone and talk to a competitor about possibly buying their business. It's scary to reach out to someone and say, hey, will you refer people to me? It's scary to organize a seminar or a webinar. It's scary to learn a new piece of software. People hate that for some reason. To learn a new bit of software that's going to really help their business, or to launch a fund. They're just scared of it, and so they don't do it. And one of the biggest sins is actually to outsource everything and then actually do nothing, because you actually need to be doing something if you want to be growing the business and changing the business. If you just want to keep the business ticking over, that's fine. But if you want to grow and you want to develop, use your time, because you are a killer asset. If you've got the business this far, you're good. Yeah. But you're not using that skill. You're now just becoming a £10 an hour task person, and that's not going to help anybody.
It's there's the one you'll be very familiar with as well, is the amount of people, whatever it is, either putting in place a process, implementing a new bit of software, and then you ask them how it's gone, and you go, oh, I wish we'd done it ages ago. And actually, business strategy could almost be dedicated to minimize the amount of times you're saying that as a business owner, isn't it? Because as you said there, most of the time, it's not always the case, but often that uncomfortable feeling does turn quite quickly actually into a real benefit, doesn't it?
And it's the times, and once you've got it embedded, it's the times. I mean, just imagine, using a funnel as an example, with Sharon, 70 leads in 5 days. What could she have done? It took her about, let's say, a day to put that funnel together. What could she have done for that day that would have generated that? What could you have done? And it's just like, but it's the choice. It's a choice of how you spend your time. And the difference between here and success is getting past that fear barrier of the fear of change. And, it's in our primeval brains to avoid change because it's protecting us. But actually, it's not protecting us. It's keeping us stuck. And it's not.
about my primeval brain having a bit of a go at men there, or was that just
no? It's our. We all have them. Primeval brains. We all have them. And it's like the thing that makes us scared, the thing that makes us excited, the adrenaline, all those sort of things. It's just primeval that we don't like change.
Yeah,
but you can train yourself to like change, and once you've got to the point where you keep changing, in the end, you're not scared anymore. You just have to bring it on. Anything.
Those 2 points, of course, is excellent. Time management is absolutely critical. Stop the spinning plates mentality. Focus on less, but do it well. All of these things will be, I'm sure, coming from the same place as that. But also in terms of saving that time to look at things like building the funnel, is it then that this is an outsourced service that you are doing for agents, or can do that for agents? Or are you recommending the actual, are they still then going out and using EDM systems and nurture systems, whatever they've got in their own business, to put this into practice?
We actually do both. Sorry, we actually do both. I mean, we actually run a 3-day coaching event called Funnel Creation Workshop, where we actually work with you and build the funnel with you. And I'll tell you why we do that. And I know people go, I don't want to learn it, Sally. Can you just build me one? Yes, we can. We can build you a funnel. For £1,000, we can build you pretty much any funnel. But I actually believe, as a business owner, you need to understand the whole mechanisms and the process of everything that you do in your business. I wouldn't want to say, oh, Simon, go let me a house, if I didn't understand the mechanisms that you would have to follow to let that house, because I could be falling foul of something. You could do it wrong, and then I'd be going, what's happened? So we do both. We actually train people how to do funnels. We also build funnels for people. And I think for me, because I'm all about marketing, and in any business, a business owner should all be about marketing. You're not marketing, you've got no business. And you should understand the mechanisms and the process of doing it, and then get someone else to do it. Either, get some outsourced workers, pay us, pay somebody else. It doesn't matter. It's just, but to understand it first before you get.
I think it's really one thing that we do at Agent Rainmaker really well is talk to people in the way that they wish to be taught, and that it depends on the person. So we've got programs where you can buy a program and you can log in and you can have all the tools that you need to do to follow step-by-step videos and guides and learn to do your own funnel, because some people like to learn like that. Then there's other people who, like Sally says, want to go in the room and want to be around it and feel it and touch it and learn it and know everything about it and just have to know it and learn it all, and that's brilliant. And then there's some other people who say, do you know what, with all the goodwill in the world, it's not for me. I hate stuff like that. I see the value at the front end of it. Could you build it for me? And I think we offer all of those things for most of the strategies that we teach, because we recognize that people are different, people learn in different ways, and people have different needs. So it's just about speaking to people the way they want to hear. But
also, as well, it's, do you feed a man to fish, or do you give him a fish?
Yes.
You see, with funnels, one funnel does not fit all. So you've got to have a funnel for the new business landlords and, not bought a property yet, a funnel for the let-only landlords. You need different funnels for different things. So, yeah, you can get a funnel built, £4,000, you can get 4 funnels built. But do you really understand it enough to say, that message isn't working now, I want to go in and I want to tweak it? You should be able to do that.
It still needs to be part of your culture and reflect your brand, doesn't it? And that's why, yes, once it's set up, other people can kind of help with the process of it, but you've got to put your own DNA into those funnels, otherwise you're not going to stand out from the crowd, are you?
It's got to be your voice, your language, your words, your ethos, all of that kind of thing. Otherwise it doesn't sound like you, and it starts to sound like an outsourced, marketing company, which we know,
the world changes, so you need to be able to change the message. Look at if you'd had a static funnel 2 years ago operating all the way through the last year, it would have looked ridiculous, because so much has changed, So to me personally, learn it and then get someone else to do it. I personally don't build funnels myself. I know I have this award up here for building £1 million real estate funnel, but I do not build funnels myself. My team do it, but I understand every single part of it. And when they're pulling me a fast one, going, oh, Sally, I've spent 3 days in that funnel, I'll be going, right, Sam, you could have done that in 1 day. What the hell are you playing at? Because I understand the mechanisms.
I think funnels as well, it's important. It's the whole process. It's not just that little bit of tech in the middle that helps to filter leads from one area to the other. It's about the ads and the message that go out there first. It's about the hook. It's about the lead magnet. It's then about how you nurture the leads at the back end, because obviously a funnel is great if you've got loads of leads, but it's like we say, if you don't know how to convert them or create them into business, it's useless. So the whole funnel process is all of those steps, to create that journey. So I think people sort of misconstrued that as it being some sort of bit of software that just magically creates business, which it obviously isn't, unfortunately.
Yeah. So What percentage do you think of the industry at the moment has any kind of basic premise of funnels in them? It's not going to be that high, is it?
1-2%, I would have said.
Yeah, that was I was just thinking it was not going to be. I think it's a much higher level that is aware of it and know they should be doing something. I suppose the low hanging fruit. But like everything, whether that's building a client services department, again, it's actually that stage before the regret of I wish I'd done it before. It's where do you start?
And I think the biggest challenge that this industry has is that we're not database collectors. And if you look at what's going on in the world out there at the moment, even when you go to a shop to buy something, they ask for your email address to put on their database. And businesses right now are being bought and sold for their databases. Whereas a lot of letting agents, it's like, unless they've actually booked a valuation, they're not really on the database, and they don't have proper nurture database CRM systems.
I never understood why everyone was panicking about GDPR, because they weren't using the database.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh my God. It's like, what? You've got no one anyway.
The irony was that actually GDPR did force the agents for the first time to email their client databases to say GDPR's coming. It's like the very thing we were meant to be stopping. But anyway, that's just an aside. So we got the first two. Those are fantastic. Okay, so automation. Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been a business in the world that can't be made better by the right automation, and I think that is critical. You could do automation, and when you do automation it goes wrong, that's even more dangerous than not doing it to start off with, isn't it? But that's why they come to people like you. Secondly, the classic one, and this is just true of anyone, use your time better. Hit me with the third.
The third one has got to be focus on the profit. And so for this, I use like your Sainsbury's analogy. So for any supermarket, really, they will know exactly the price of that tin of beans to buy it, how much it costs them to transport it, how long it will stay on the shelves for, how many will get damaged on the transit and in the shelves and the shop as well, how much they need to add on to it for their profit margin, and how much they need to add on it to cover breakages. Whereas in our industry, it seems to be everyone else is doing it for free. I'll do it for free. We actually did a one-day event yesterday, and I wrote down all the things that we have to do, and I wrote down, all the maintenance and the rent arrears and the rent collection and dealing with, you've got to keep your rent in payment, and then the serving of the How to Rent Guide, and the Immigration Act, and then follow-up Immigration Act, the inspection checks, the deposit registration, the deposit returns, the adjudications, the TDS stuff, all the disputes that go here and there about whether the carpet's clean or not clean when they vacate, and all that sort of stuff. And I said, and serving notices, and we could just go on. And it's like, you charge 50 quid a month for that. And it's just like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And so what I really urge people to do is to really understand, how much does it cost you to do that inspection? Pick any topic, anything that you want to pick: viewings, move-ins, inspections, maintenance, check-ins, check-outs, notices, attending court, whatever it is, having the license in your name. It's a new thing people seem to do. So what is it actually costing you to do that? Because the mindset at the moment, Simon, is that I'm not going to get an inventory clerk to do that, because if I do it, it doesn't cost anything. And this is the big bugbear for me. It does cost you something to have that member of staff sitting out there. You have to have premises, software, their salary, their NI, their pension contributions, their training, the days off sick, the holiday allowance, the cover. You've got all these costs, the insurances and everything that you have to run this business. So every member of staff that sits on a seat is your commodity. It's your can of beans. It's what you sell. Yeah. And so every hour they sit, there's a cost. And if you work it out, we're fine, because we've been doing this for a little while now in the rooms. We find that most people's cost, depending on a very small business or a bigger business, is somewhere between £27 and around £55, £60. So anywhere in there is how much it costs each member of staff to sit in that seat for an hour. So then I say, okay, you've sent them to go and do an inventory 13 miles away. It's a 3-bedroom detached house, fully furnished. They've been there for 2 hours. They've driven back. They then had to get the whole thing typed up, checked to make sure everything's okay, and then issue it. Now, 6 hours out of their day, how much does that inventory cost you if it's £50 an hour? And it's like, oh, it's cost me 300 quid. And they're like, wow. But your mindset is that's free. Yeah. But it isn't free. And I don't know what your area is like, but in our area, we can get someone doing images for £45, £50. I know some areas it costs more expensive than that, but it's understanding the money. It's understanding the numbers.
But also then including that inventory cost in your fully managed service, you're now down 550 quid a month before you've even done anything. And unfortunately, the pricing in this industry has been people coming in and going, what are they doing? What are they doing? somewhere between 80%, 10%, and for some reason the industry's just accepted that as that's what it costs to do what we do, but never actually put any forethought or figures or calculations or anything in place for it. It's madness.
I mean, there's plenty of valid strategies, isn't there? As you were talking about, there's cost plus pricing. There is competitive pricing. There's penetration pricing for getting domination over this. All of these are perfectly valid, but you do need to actually, it's that key bit, strategize as to why you're doing it. Whereas, because the feedback is, well, they're doing it for 1.2, well, you need to be able to justify what's different about you. Otherwise, classic Seth Godin, purple cow, you are no different from anyone else, are you?
And if you're not different, people will just choose you on price. And that's the biggest objection. If I charge for that, people won't use me. If they're not experienced, they will. And I'm not saying go and put all your fees up, but understand what you charge, why, how much do you need to charge for all these things for you to make a profit? And the other question is, should you be doing them? Or should you perhaps not include it in the service? Or should you perhaps get someone else to do it? Could you outsource it somewhere? I mean, you can get people to do viewings now. You can get people to do your inventories now. People do your inspections now. You can get people to answer your phones for you, whatever. What is it that you should be doing? And how much does that cost to do?
Steer away, because commoditization by definition is something that can be mass produced, and so there's going to be pressure on prices. You need to be looking away from that. Where human value comes is in the other areas, isn't it? And so I've often said, don't bother coming up with any genuinely great invention. Just look at industries that are being poorly serviced at the moment, because if not, as you said, if the circle of expectation is up here, but it costs you that to deliver on it.
Yeah.
There is no margin, is there?
But it's like when people do that when they start businesses or they set up in a new area, and you see it all the time, the new offices, well, we're going to take on the first 50 properties for free, or we're going to sell your house for free for the first 6 months, or, all of those kind of things. Or it's better that we just do it for 5% because at least we've got some customers. But when you actually figure out that it's actually costing you money, you're essentially funding their investment, or it's costing you money to do it. It isn't worth it at all. It's not worth it. So no other business would operate like that. So I'm unsure why we do that in our industry.
So we have two hats, Simon. You'll like this, right? We have two hats. These fixed. I've never put them on my head yet. They only arrived recently. All right. This is my Simon Whale hat. Yeah. So the challenge in our industry.
I don't think I've ever seen you in a baseball hat. This is very odd, actually.
Oh. Hey, where's your hat?
I've got hat FOMO. Look at this.
Yeah. All right. So what we say to people is, my hair's going to look terrible when I take this off now. You put your letting. Most people have their letting agency hat on. They are brilliant letting agents. They're looking after the landlords. They're doing everything they want, and they're doing everything perfectly and whatever. But when it comes to themselves, their own profit, their own value in the business, things like that, they're not monetizing. So what we tell people to do, and if you want to overarch everything that we teach, is look at my hair now. It's terrible. All right. Is actually put your business owner hat on, all right? Your business owner hat is basically, I'm going to run this business like a business owner. If one of the Dragon's Den came in and ran my business, they would say, why are you doing that inventory for free? Why are you doing that? Yeah. Why are you taking rubbish out? You're not even insured or indemnified. You're not even trained how to do it. Why are you doing it?
So because we've always done it that way, and that's what everyone does, and that's what the expectation is. And
so you put your business owner hat on, you start saying, well, should I be doing that? Am I insured to do that? Am I indemnified to do that? Are my staff trained to do that? Is there any vicarious liability in doing that? Put your bloody business hat on and start looking at it like a business. And that's the difference here, is you've got to be a business owner first, a letting agent second. Lettings is just what you do. And what we try and do is we try and transform people from being letting agents, kind of got to the keys, got to answer the emails, got all that sort of stuff, to actually, no, I've got to work my cost of services sold. I've got to work out my staff to fee earning ratio. I've got to make sure the right level of sales staff versus operational staff. I've got to make sure that everything that we do, we are trained to do, we are indemnified to do, we are insured to do. I've got to make sure my corporate governance is in place. I've got to make sure I've automated the lead system. I've got to make sure people at the right pay grade, at the right level, are doing the right tasks. I've got to make sure that I'm using value and I'm looking at R&D and what's new and I'm evolving the business. That's what being a business owner is all about. It's not going, oh, I've answered all my emails and I've sorted all the keys. That's not what it is. Being a business owner is basically being a business owner and running the business. There we are. Ta-da! The hats.
No, that's fantastic. So let's look at those again, just to summarize those three. So the first one, using technology in the right, that's very hip, very cool. Using technology in the right way to help that automation, genuinely being able to monitor the ROI of these tools, to get the best out of it. Secondly, yes, the one resource you can never get any more of, time by definition, isn't it there? So use that sparingly and effectively as you can do. And then third, just going back to the old tenet of turnover is vanity and profit is sanity. Look at and assess everything you're doing, and you're not going to go wrong with those three basic tenets, are you, in everyday business?
Absolutely. And be a business owner. See yourself as a business owner first. And that's a big challenge in this industry. Most people are great letting agents. They're practitioners. They're brilliant. They're like artists. They love what they do. But are you a good business owner? And once you make that transition, the difference, Simon, honestly, the results we've seen are phenomenal, because you're valuable. You can do so much.
Talk to us about some of the people you mentioned, a couple there that you work with that, you know, that may have come to you as well. Don't talk about, I suppose, you know, everyone always shows their massive high flyers. I'm really interested to find some of the people that were, you know, maybe they didn't know whether it was going to work for them, and then actually they did put the time and energy in, and they saw the results. Have you got kind of sort of clients that fit that demographic?
Well, I'll talk to you about Paul Kearton, and Kate can tell you about John Penquit. So Paul Kearton came to us. Hello, Paul, if you're watching. I can remember him coming to us on one of our one-day events, our 97 quid one-day events. And he came into the room and he said, Sally, today's the day I decide whether I close my business or I keep going. I said, okay.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Considering most of the day I just scare the hell out of them. So this is going to be good. I said, all right, okay. So I said, you're my mission then. My mission by the end of the day, I'm going to ask you throughout the day, what percentage of I'm going to stay in are you? I says, where are you at now? He says, I'm about 25% staying in, 75% getting out. I says, all right. Okay. So I started to talk throughout the day about how he could generate more leads. I started to talk about how he could add value to his list by, you know, starting to charge for some of the things he was doing for free and stopping doing some of the things that he's not insured to do, not indemnified to do, not trained to and shouldn't be doing. I started to talk about how he could outsource and get things done, because he was a lone trader who just worked on his own from home. Yeah. And I started to talk about how he could get stuff outsourced and get, you know, use tech. He could use outsourced workers to get things done for him and all that sort of stuff. And I said to him at lunchtime, I says, where are you, Paul? And he said, I'm about 75% stay in, 25% get out. I says, right, so I've got half a day to crack on with this then. He went, yeah. I says, all right. So we spent the afternoon talking about additional services, about how he could do extra things, because he was doing so much for free, included in the service, like advising people on buy-to-let, doing refurbs for people for nothing. I says, well, you could charge for those. They're additional services. These extra money you could earn. He said, oh my God, he could do furniture packs. Oh yeah, wow. And then we talked about how he could perhaps branch out in some other areas with using professional services, again, outsourcing, trainers, things like that, different things. And by the end of it, he's like, I'm in. And only a tiny, tiny little business. But anyway, we interviewed him, I don't know, about 3 months ago, I think, something like that, in the Agent Rainmaker group. I was an interview with him. He was still there if you want to have a look at it. But he actually grew his business by 700%. But that's not actually the super success here. The super success here, he's managed to create a business where he wants to work from home with his family and stuff like that. So he's managed to create a business where he works from home and he has people doing everything for him. It's like literally they're doing that, they're doing that, they're doing that. I can't remember exactly what, but he's got everything done everywhere. So really all he does is match the two together and everything's taken care of him. And I'll tell you what, the guy's so happy. Because he's created the life he wanted to create. Like, he's not making millions or anything like that.
He doesn't want to be huge, and he doesn't want to have, you know, he doesn't want to grow to a point where he has to take on loads of staff and all, because he doesn't want that. But what he's got is the time, and he's got what he wanted. What does the success look like for him? And that's what it was.
Well, I said I was going to complicate your three ones, and I was going to throw in a fourth there, and actually, it's probably the underlying one to master them all, isn't it? What are you in it for? That's what you've got to understand all, isn't it? Just because everyone always says we've got to be the biggest and the best. Well, what does that actually mean to you? That chap had a very clear work-life balance thing, and so you need to get to that stage, then map everything else from that point, don't you?
Yeah, listen to
that's
the John one.
Yeah, so John Penquit's very similar, because again he came to us on a one day and sort of flew under the radar, didn't he, a little bit, Sal, on that one, and then, you know, joined us on our 4-day boot camp, which is, you know, we shut ourselves in. Well, we used to shut ourselves in a hotel room for 4 days. Now we do it virtually and everything. But you know, when we literally take the businesses apart and put them back together again, and it's a phenomenal event. And he came to me at the end of that pretty much in tears, because a little bit known to us at the time, he was funding his business monthly with you know, he had his own portfolio of properties and was hemorrhaging money into this business every month to just keep it going, and couldn't see a way out, and pretty much said to us he had 12 weeks left before he was going to have to close the doors. And I mean, heartbroken, really, you know, visually very, very upset. And we sort of embarked on, right, and I think we called it, you know, it's an SOS mission. Let's save it. And we worked with him on a one-to-one level, and we helped him. And with 3 simple steps that we did in one afternoon, probably about 3.5 hours, wasn't it? We were in a room with him. We made him 120K of growth from what he had, which got him out of that hole that he was in. And now, bless him, I mean, he's flying, but I mean, he actually got out of the business, he sold it and bought a boat, because that's what he wanted to do, and that's what happiness was. But he was in such a position that he couldn't do that. You know, you feel so trapped and hemmed in, and you're letting so many people down, you know, staff and clients and all of that kind of thing, that there was just no way out for him. And it's like you say, Simon, what does that success look like? It might look like having multiple offices and taking over the world one letter at a time and all that, brilliant. Or it might be putting yourself in a position where you get that retirement dream, or you get to walk away and set something else up, or whatever. It's different for everyone that we work with, and it's so rewarding. It's unbelievably rewarding.
We love it, don't we? We love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can
we
imagine.
do.
And look, we want to, obviously, let's circle it back round. So obviously anybody can come to you, and there's just so many different areas. I've been making notes, the funnel, the consultative advice, everything there. The never-ending stuff, absolutely. Content story is fantastic. But the events are the centerpiece here. And one thing that I'm sure she doesn't mind me, in fact, I know she won't do, because she's already said she likes it on Facebook. Amy Hanson from latterly Let MC Agent OS just said to me, Whaley, you have got to go to Agent Rainmaker. It is like nothing else around there. And she spoke about the level of engagement. Sometimes events, you know, whilst I'm all very happy clappy about them, sometimes they can be a bit sterile. But there's no possibility of that at yours, isn't it? Could we talk about just that the reason why that is, and then I suppose just to add to the second of it, is that because of what you kind of R&D'd, as it were, from America? Because a lot of this, you've looked at a lot of the ways the Americans do conferences and things like that, haven't you? What's your vision of what events should look like?
Well, for me, number one, the events should be fun. Because I think if I'm going to spend 3 days locked in a room with loads of people, we should be having fun. Secondly, they should be massively engaged. And I think a lot of conferences that certainly I've been included in are not that engaged. You sit, you watch, you listen, you go outside, you speak to the people you know, you go home. So I think we should be massively engaged. And remember, the reason I set up Agent Rainmaker is people weren't talking to each other. So I wanted to create an environment where it's okay to share. It's okay for everyone to talk. You talk to each other and you tell the truth and you help each other. And that's what we wanted to create. So they must be fun. They must be engaged. And they almost always must be motivational. One of the real bugbears for me is a lot of the industry conferences were very serious. And I used to walk out of them thinking, I'm selling my business. Because there was that demoted. It was all like, you will get fined, prosecuted, banning orders, or you can go to jail. I think, why am I doing this? You know, that's not really what I go to a conference for. There was nothing serving me, the business owner, to say, come on, Sally, you can make more money, you can grow, you can serve more people, you can help more people, you can do nothing like that. So it should, for me, it should be fun, because if I'm going to do something 4 days, it should be fun. 2, it should be engaging. So we're all involved in this, everybody. And finally, it should be motivational, inspirational. So to me, that's the bloodline that goes through every single one of our events, whether it's staff training, one of the one-day business coaching days, whether it's the boot camp, whether it's the funnel creation workshop, whether it's the 12-month agent ARX program, or the mastery event that we're running next month. It's got to be all of those things. And so, yes, we did look to America, and we did see some amazing events, and we did nick some of their ideas and put that, like the t-shirt gun. We nicked that from Funnel Hacking Live. You've got to have a t-shirt gun, haven't you? It's just essential.
It was the first thing when I sold the business. Oompa Loompas, a lot of people looked down their nose at me there, and a t-shirt gun. That's it. Bucket list stuff is what kept me going.
I think it's great that you say from Amy there as one of the exhibitors and the people who are involved with us as sponsors and stuff as well, because I think what we do is we put people into a different state when they attend one of our conferences, because it's like Sally says, they're not just there for information or, you know, to fill a notepad full of things to do and then move on with their life. They're there for that belief that they can do it, and they believe that they can look for more and better ways. And, you know, a lot of suppliers, and me, you know, part of what you do, Simon, is that people are often offering solutions to problems, to make life easier, to make life better, to grow and be better. And I think people come to our conferences and they get that. So they're much more open to receiving, you know, new ideas from suppliers or from us or from each other and that kind of thing. So we put people into a different state of mind, as well as giving them the tools to go on and express that change.
Well, you just imagine going to a conference, it's all about legislative, you know, you can get fined, prosecuted, banned, you get this and that and the other, and someone comes out, hey, would you like a new piece of software? It's like, no, I don't want
would you like to spend half of what you're making on something else? And then you think, why? Good Lord.
Now the awards.
yeah, exactly.
So, okay, well, let's give me the pitch now in terms of there, because you were, I was getting excited looking at how excited you guys were about your obviously new one. First of all, we are very excited because we are going to be coming to that event next month. We obviously see a lot of value in that. But talk to us about what you unveiled last week.
Okay, so we've ran over 30 solid events, 19 live events using Zoom and things like that. So we're really good at running events. We love events. We miss the live events. We miss the lights. We miss the stage. We miss the environment. We miss the giving away free things, all those sort of stuff. We miss all of that. And so we were looking desperately for how we could do some sort of halfway house between a real live event and, you know, like some of our online events. And we've come up with a solution, Simon. We've come up with a solution. We've found this kick-ass studio in, I'm supposed to say London, but it's actually Slough. Anyway, I found this kick-ass venue. It's 360-degree screens, full-on cameras, full-on lights, proper stage. We can actually give it that pizzazz, that gumption, that everything that we normally do on that live stage. But because we can see everybody, if you've ever seen the Tony Robbins ads with all of his it's like that, because we can see everybody, we can talk to, we can engage. We couldn't figure out how to use the t-shirt gun, unfortunately. But
I'm still getting one. She doesn't know. I'm doing it anyway.
But we still can have, we're going to be giving away prizes. There's going to be all this sort of stuff. It's not, you know, one of these events where everyone's pitching at you. It's not that sort of thing. It's just, our mindset was, let's get the community together. Let's all meet and network and learn and look at what's working now, have some fun, meet everybody, learn something new, something that's going to inspire and motivate us, and let's make something at 2020. Because it's pretty depressing out there at the moment. There's so much talk of, you know, people struggling, mental illness, all those sort of things. We're all desperate for something new. And so we wanted to find something as close as we possibly could to that physical vibe, and that's what we're doing. So true Rainmaker style, big kick-ass stage. There's going to be 3 days of full-on content about all the things that we've been teaching in the last 12 months, which has had the best successes. So we've picked the strategies that have massively worked over the last 12 months. We're going to have people coming on stage and talking about how they did those things and the results that they had. So you not only hear us teaching it, you then see how other people implemented it and the results that they've got. There's going to be breakout rooms, talk to the speakers afterwards. There's going to be a masterminding session where you can talk to all the key speakers and all that at the end of the day. We've even got little bottles of champagne going out. We're having a VIP champagne evening. We're going to give it a go. Hey, why not? We're going to try it.
Black tie only, obviously.
We'll send you an extra large one, Simon. So it's just going to be fun. It's just going to be fun. So it's different.
So give us how do people? First of all, we need to get that on the events on Kerfuffle, because we obviously want to promote that as much as we can do. But for now, they can go to your website and get further information.
Yeah, you can go to our website. Or arxmastery.co.uk.
Yeah, www.arxmastery.co.uk. You can read all about it and buy your tickets there as well, which is fantastic. And as Sally said, you can get your VIP ticket, which gets you the swag box, which will have some great kerfuffle stuff in it, as well as the, you know, all the goodies. And it's going to be great. It's a real hybrid, isn't it? We've recreated what I believe is a proper hybrid event. And just as you see the excitement we have for here, you ain't seen nothing like one of our events. So yeah.
Well, good stuff. We'll pop that URL up as well in all the different places and share that. So don't worry, trying to scribble that down. And of course, I should say at this stage, yes, I just mentioned you just fantastically come on the website with us. So you have got now your lovely new Agent Rainmaker landing page here. And I noticed we have managed to tease out of you as well a lovely exclusive kerfuffle deal. So could you just explain to everybody what you're willing to do there for our kerfuffle members?
Over to you, Kate.
Yes, so absolutely. So what we would love to do is speak to as many of you as possible. I mean, we barely scratched the surface today of what it is that we do for the industry. So what you can do is click on that link there and we will do a free business review with you. So you get 30 minutes with one of the growth coaches, myself or one of the other teams. And you can absolutely, we'll help you put your business owner hat on, explore, deep dive into your business and really work out what we can do for you to help you, as Sally said, improve those 3 things that are obviously going to bring you better business in 2021, you know, more leads, more money or more profit, anything like that. So a 30-minute free business review with one of our top growth strategists for your members, Simon, for Kerfuffle. So please do click and we'd love to speak to you.
Absolute legends, and that's brilliant. And one thing I guarantee is going to change from the next time here. I noticed obviously we've only just gone live with you, so we haven't got any reviews. I know from the amount of people that talk about you that there are loads of people out there that are just going to be dying to give their feedback on what they get from you at those events. So please do jump in. Takes 2 seconds literally to leave either a text review, or if you're feeling brave, go on the video one as well, literally just from your phone or mobile device. I know these guys, Sally and Kate, will be very appreciative if you can give their feedback, because of course hearing it from the horse's mouth is the most powerful message we can have of all there. And actually should say we've got a competition, I think, till the end of the month to win about £1,500 worth of kerfuffle goodies. We're going to be doing a lucky dip, so every review you give, you get an entry into that. So yeah, do try and give feedback, as we said, not just on Agent Rainmaker, but every supplier out there, so that your peers in the industry can learn from those experiences. I think that's great. I did say to you guys that we now hit 1 hour, 5 minutes. We'll probably be about 30 minutes to 45. I said we may overstep the mark a little.
It's never going to happen, was it, Sam?
It's never going to happen. Just for the people, we do a wonderful editing people at Property Video Solutions. Do a nice summarised one, which basically cuts me out of the video. And that gets it down to a really tight 10, 30 minutes. If you're interested in that, just to send it over, we do a separate mailing list for that, and we get loads of wonderful little sound bites as well out of the absolute gems that we had here today. Ladies, I absolutely love all the stuff that you do. You actually serve a vital place, I believe, in the industry here, and I encourage anybody to get in contact. I'm going to be doing one of those funnel workshops, because I love that. That is Whaley catnip. So once again, thank you very much. I look forward to being at the event as well, and even more to getting that, which is now a guarantee, a verbal contract, extra big bottle of champagne. You, Sally and Kate, thank you very much. Catch up with you soon.
Thank you, Simon.
Cheers, thanks.